Live from Town Hall, welcome to this evening's Candidates Forum. I'm Paul Santos, your moderator. Did want to let you know that this is a collaboration between Dartmouth Community Media, DCTV, Dartmouth Week, and radio station WBSM. Would like to remind people in the audience that you should refrain from talking or applauding until the end of the forum. Do want to let people know the schedule of our events tonight. First of all, the candidate statements from the uncontested race will go first, and then we will go on to school committee. Would like to, at this time, set the ground rules for our debate. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for an opening statement. The candidates in the first seat on the dais, closest to the podium, will go first. Candidates will be asked questions from a panelist. The first candidate will be given 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer, and each candidate after will be given 1 minute to respond. The first question will be answered first by the candidate in the first seat, and then we'll move on down the line. Then the second question will be answered by the first candidate in the second seat, and then we'll move on down the line with the candidate in the first seat going last, so everybody gets the same opportunity. Each candidate will be given 2 minutes for a closing statement. Now, at the beginning of this event, we drew names for seat positions in order to put the candidates in the seats that they are in. At this time, I would like to introduce our panel for questions tonight. First of all, News Director at WBSM, Ms. Kate Robinson, and the publisher of the Dartmouth Week, Ms. Ann Eisenmenger. Now, let's move on to the first item up for presentation, and that is the uncontested race. At this time, we'd like to introduce Mr. Stanley Mickelson. He is from Select Board Lot 4. Mr. Mickelson.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Santos, Peter Chase, and DCTV, local media. At this time, I want to yield my time to the folks that are to my right. And if you would like to hear my candidate speech, please tune into DCTV, and the thousands of people that are watching tonight will be able to look also. So with that said, good luck to everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Stanley Mickelson, Select Board Lot 4. At this time, we'd like to introduce the candidates for school committee as they appear on the ballot. You can vote for two, and the top two end up being elected. First of all, our incumbent, Kathleen A. Amaral. Challengers tonight, Elizabeth J. Coughlin, Erica L. Morency, Troy Tufano, and Lynn Turner. We have now reached the stage in the proceeding where we're going to ask our candidates for their opening statements. The opening statements will be 2 minutes. First of all, Miss Elizabeth Coughlin.
Thank you. Hello, Dartmouth. Thank you, Dartmouth Community Media, WBSM, and Dartmouth Week for hosting this event. My name is Bess Coughlin, and I am running for school committee because I am committed to a quality education for all learners. I am proud of our schools, and I want them to continue to meet and exceed our students' needs. If elected, I will work to improve what we can, be seeking input from parents. I will seek input from educational professionals and community members. I will be listening, critically evaluating policies, and moving deliberately. In this way, we will ensure that all of our students continue to get a quality education in a safe and supportive environment that will prepare them for success in life. Critical to our students' ability to learn is their underlying well-being. We must strive to support and grow this for every student. By valuing mutual respect and equity, we enhance all students' well-being. By using source material from varying perspectives, we embrace diversity and hone critical thinking skills on bias and vantage point. We aim to be inclusive so that all may succeed. I have been a Dartmouth resident for over 25 years, 20 of which I worked at Sylvan Nursery. I graduated from Temple University in Philadelphia with a degree in geology. If elected, I will work for the betterment of all students through broad input and evaluation. Whether looking at policy or budget, I will put the goal of a quality education for all learners first, so that all will have the tools to be a productive citizen and have a fulfilling life. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coughlin. Next, Erica Morency.
Hello, my name is Erica Morency. I do want to say I commend everybody who is on the school committee, past and present. It's countless hours and a lot of hard work of your time, and I truly respect you for that. So thank you, and thank you, DCTV. I've lived in Dartmouth almost 18 years with my husband, Victor. We have 2 children. Gabby is 9, Victor is 11, and they're in the school system. They're highly active in sports and camps and all kinds of activities around Dartmouth. I recently started to volunteer at the Council on Aging. I'm working on becoming a Towns member. It's just a good time for me to start getting involved in the community, which is why I'm running for school committee. I'm running for school committee to focus on the basics of teaching, learning, common sense solutions, and community outreach. We must prioritize our expenditures and ensure they're geared towards classroom needs, adequate staff compensation, and professional development that addresses our children's academic needs. I am committed to continue on honoring the tradition of our Dartmouth Pride Indian symbol. Also, I support continuing collaborating with the tribes that are still here and the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Kathleen Amaral.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kathleen Amaral. I am, this would be my 3rd term if I am reelected. I've always been committed to service. I carry this little booklet with me. I'm an overcommitter, admittedly, but I only commit to things that I know that I can make an impact, have an impact on. I'm deeply committed to this school department. I have been for years a collaborator, partnering with our schools, supporting our educators, and nothing brings me to that place than being a mom to 3 and one who relies on some comprehensive and intimate care needs and has received nothing but the best from those that have supported him over the years. And so how can I not give back to my community, having been so lucky and so fortunate to sit in a place where I'm able to partner and sit at the table with you and make decisions that are best for all students. That was off the cuff, so I'm going to read now. So I am committed to ensuring Dartmouth continues to make decisions that are best for all students through thoughtful leadership, an unwavering commitment to recognizing and encouraging the individual potential of each student, and dedication to valuing, listening, and to supporting all staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Now for your opening statement, Lynn Turner.
Hello, Dartmouth voters. I am so happy to be here again this year. I made my debut last year, and I had a good race against Chris Oliver and John Nunes. I did come in 3rd, so I am here again today. I'm asking for your vote in the upcoming school committee election as a candidate with a background as an elementary school teacher and as a high school tennis coach, as well as experience raising 5 kids in Dartmouth and in the schools in the past 24 years that I've lived here. I believe I am uniquely qualified to help improve our educational system. I also feel that my fresh ideas and new perspective will be an asset for our schools in Dartmouth. My focus is on a common sense, practical approach for planning for bright futures. I also have asked for a curriculum to educate and not to push political bias. And I ask for transparency for parents and for taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for your opening statement, Troy Tufano.
Thank you, and good evening, Dartmouth. My name is Troy Tufano, and I am running for school committee. I currently work at Quinn Elementary as a monitor, so I feel I have a very unique situation where I'm able to speak with students, staff, and teacher and parents on a daily basis. I have 2 kids at Quinn as well. They're 8 and 10, and it's a great system that we have, and we need to keep it great. A couple of points that I want to cover to keep it great is adequate pay for staff and also adequate benefits. Nobody should show up to a job and not be able to rely on a benefits package and have to go elsewhere to receive adequate benefits. And we have that, unfortunately, with teaching assistants and other staff leaving our district for other ones, and that needs to stop. So something with that, and that needs to be rectified, and it needs to be at the forefront of our focus. Another issue is our growing size and capacity in our schools. I see on a daily basis more and more kids coming into schools, and they don't grow on their own. It's not a thing where they actually like expand. So we need to start looking to our future, and we need to start looking at can we do improvements or actually enlarge the schools, or do we need to look to start building new schools? What is it that we need to do? We need to plan for the future. We don't want to be reactive. We want to look ahead and actually plan. And that's those are the two major things that I want to focus on when I'm elected to school committee. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tufano. That concludes our opening statement segment of the proceedings. We now go on to the questions of the panel. And our first question tonight is going to be asked by Ann Eisenmenger of Dartmouth Weekly, and the question will be for Elizabeth Coughlin. She'll have 1:30 to answer. The rest of the candidates will then have a minute. Ms. Eisenmenger.
Hi there. Two-part question here. What, in your opinion, is the greatest strength of Dartmouth Public Schools? And part two, what is one area that you think needs improvement, and what do you think should be done to improve it?
So I believe our greatest strength is our teachers. They are dedicated beyond what they are paid or compensated, I would say. Nobody goes into teaching, of course, to become a millionaire, but they do deserve a living wage. So they are our greatest asset. They take every student's needs into consideration in their classes, and that helps every student achieve as much as they can. And where we need to improve, I think we need, in the lower schools, I would love to have a little more emotional, mental health work support. I think we already have that in the high schools. And also, I would like to see civics education brought to Dartmouth schools. We would like all of our graduates to be voters and informed voters, and I think that education is lacking at this point.
All right, thank you. Let's see now, Erica Morency.
I do think I agree with Bess. I do think the greatest strength is the teachers. I've seen firsthand with my kids that they go above and beyond every day, and they truly care about our students. So I do think that's the greatest strength of the schools. I think the improvement, the improvement should be, again, supporting. I think we all support the teachers, but helping them with some of this insurance cost. I also believe in the high school. I think improving, Lynn has some good ideas about improving. Not all these kids are going to go to college, and about getting some classes that would help them prepare for life financially. I also think it would help to have, even if it's police or somebody, come in and talk about these scams, like help them prevent from getting scammed. I think that would be helpful for life, not just college.
Thank you. Kathleen Amaral.
Wow. So a greatest strength. What I'm going to say, and I'm not going to say that my panel mates missed this on purpose, but I'm going to say all staff, just because we have some dedicated staff. Custodial staff are there after youth sports till like 10 o'clock at night. During events, our CPAC organizes on a Sunday. We've got people volunteering, and they're, all hours and willing. Gosh, I got to get to my weaknesses here. So we're really lucky with the dedication that we have. As far as needs improvement, yes, mental health supports always can be improved upon. I think having a practice and a mindset that you're always looking to improve and not sort of being defensive about I'm trying to talk fast to get it all in. But also, I think some work around our early detection for students with learning disabilities and dyslexia in particular, I think that can be improved. And
Time, please. Thank you. Lynn Turner.
Okay, so I think our greatest strength is our dedication to excellence. Dartmouth is known for one of the greatest bands, the greatest sports, our kids are involved in after-school activities. They take pride in their work, and the teachers are also dedicated to excellence, and they have a really good delivery of college-ready courses so that students can excel in their education. The areas that I think need improvement are, I think we do a really nice job with our kids that are ready for college or getting ready for college, and I think we do an excellent job addressing the needs of our special needs students. What I think gets lost at times is that middle group that does need to be looked at, and
Time,
I have
please.
proposed practical math.
Thank you. Troy Torfano?
As I said in the opening statement, our greatest asset is our staff, all across the board. And that needs to be focused on, and it maintains our greatest strength. It really has. What we need to work on, the mental health component to it is really important, especially coming in off of the pandemic. We've have students in all different facets struggling with different things, and even being behind maybe a little bit in their schoolwork. But the staff that we have, thanks to how great they are, has done a really good job trying to get everybody back into the fold where we were pre-pandemic.
All right, thank you. Let's go on to our second question now. It will be asked by WBSM's Kate Robinson, and it will be directed to Erica Morency.
Okay. Have you reviewed the school budget? And if so, what thoughts or concerns do you have? What would you cut and what would you add to?
Okay, I don't think I can answer that in a minute. But I have reviewed the school budget, and I have looked over the tons and tons of itemized lines. Me being new to this, some of the explanations of other amounts and questions, I'm not familiar with that like the school committee is. I think that we could work on like using the grant money properly. Can we somehow make cuts somewhere to, again, prioritizing your expenditures on what to do. So I don't necessarily have a plan on, okay, because I'm not on the school committee yet. I still have a lot to learn. But in the budget, I understand the COVID funds are ending shortly, so they're going to have to prepare. We're going to have to prepare for that. So I think, again, trying to work around that and figure out where can we make cuts, where can we maximize our grant money, how can we get more money for these schools.
All right, thank you. Kathleen Amaral.
Yeah, could you repeat the question quickly? Just what I would.
What thoughts or concerns do you have about the budget? What would you cut and what would you add to?
It's a big budget, but you know, we've got folks in the room. We've got to be mindful about making choices that are in the best interest of the students in the classroom, and you know, our budget is quite transparent. We're very lucky that our current business and finance manager, assistant superintendent, acting superintendent is quite able to explain things. I think he does well with that in terms of like advocating for the asks. There is a lot in that budget once you know you get to digging into it, that unfunded requests that are, you've probably heard on the school committee us discussing that, you know, these are things that are not icing on the cake. These are necessary things, and you know, for 21st century learning, and to be a town that you know values education and values our people wanting to move in here, we've got to value what's best for students. And that.
Time, please. Thank you. Lynn Turner.
Okay, so for the school budget, again, I am also new to the school budget and what I would need to cut. But I do think we need to take a hard look at our school budget. It is far above what the town is planning to pay. So we do need to take a hard look at everything in it. I did take a look at the school budget, and I do have questions. There's a lot to learn. I wish I could click when it goes line by line with how much we're spending for the different things at the bottom. I would like to be able to click and it would expand and show me a little more about what exactly we're funding, you know, what teacher trainings we have, what curriculum we're purchasing. You know, I'd like to see, you know, what positions we have that we're funding, and at the administration level, you know, what all our positions are. I would like to really take a hard look at everything. Thank you. Oh, and what I would add, I don't know if I would add anything. I think
please.
we have overspent.
Sorry. Troy Tofano?
I have looked over the budget. As a town meeting member, I actually have to say my biggest concern isn't the school budget itself, but it's Proposition 2.5. Proposition 2.5 is an antiquated proposition, and it needs to go. It may have worked when it was originally proposed. It may have been fantastic then. But with Proposition 2.5 in place, we can't make adequate increases that we need. And eventually, at some point, we won't be able to keep up with other towns around us, which also goes into the teachers' pay, the TA pay, the benefits packages. It all comes from where we kind of get stuck behind Prop 2.5, and it limits us. I say we don't get limited. I say we bring this concern to the town as a whole and work on revising or even getting rid of Proposition 2.5. Thank you.
Thank you. Elizabeth Coughlin, please.
Yeah, I would say I believe that the budget has been gone over very carefully, and I don't see anything that I want to cut. And I think if there was something easy to cut, it would have already been cut. As for salaries, budgets, I hope that when we hire the new super that she doesn't, or he does not, have quite as high a salary, because I think that there's an inequity between teachers' pay and our administrative pay. To add, I would like to add money for mental health.
All right, thank you. Let's go on to our next question now. It'll be asked by Ann from Dartmouth Weekly, and it will be directed to Kathleen Amaral.
Hi, this is a question sent in from the public, which is to describe your prior public service to the town, either elected or volunteer, or in your case, maybe both. And I will add, and how that is relevant to how you would perform on the school committee. I know, it's luck of the draw. This is
Yeah.
one I'm asking you first.
I got a minute and a half. You know, like I said, I've been, in high school, I was committed to service. You know, I was in a lot of clubs. So I'm a town meeting member. I've been a town meeting member for well over 10 years. I was a select board appointed member of our Disability and Accessibility Commission for several years up until the pandemic, when I decided I had to give something up. And I volunteered with the town as a parent of a student receiving special education services. I have been chair for over 13 years of a Massachusetts general law mandated group, which is a parent advisory council, and we advise the school committee and we participate in and bring parents to the table for engagement. I've volunteered for DESE. I contributed to a newly developed parent engagement framework that the state of Massachusetts is utilizing, and it's sort of like this no wrong door process where you can get the same information from DCF that you're getting from the youth advocate you're getting from, and so it's a way to engage with families to make the outcomes better, right? Gosh, I've done so. And school committee, Healthy Dartmouth, I was on a committee to kind of talk about some things around mental health and the opioid crisis. I've been a PTO secretary. I was a school council member for Quinn, and I'm a governor appointed. Baker appointed me to the Massachusetts
Time, please.
PD Council.
All right, Lynn Turner.
Hi. Yes, so I have been in public service around my children. I have helped with Take a Bow as a theater parent, which was a lot of work. I've been a soccer coach around my daughter for many years when she was at DYSA. I've been a Destination Imagination sponsor for middle schoolers who competed in Destination Imagination with improv. And with Boy Scouts, when my son was young, I also did Boy Scout leading. And I'm also a secretary for our Rolling Hills Estates neighborhood.
Thank you. Troy Tufano, please.
Okay, so I'm a town meeting member. I was an employee for the Dartmouth Town Clerk's office for a few years, running the elections, doing voter registration, birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, you name it. I did it. That was encompassed in the town clerk's position. I was the elected chairman of the Democratic Town Committee for 5 years. I was a youth fellowship director at the Congregational Church of South Dartmouth with my wife for years. And I currently work at Quinn as a recess monitor. I've done a lot.
All right, thank you. Elizabeth Coughlin, please.
It's a lot to follow. So I am a town meeting member, and I have been a volunteer at Fan Community Gardens, and I'm a board member there. And other than that, I don't think there's anything directly town related, but I will say not as a town meeting member, because that's not often an active position, but at Health and Community Gardens, I would say I am a collaborator and a hard worker.
All right, thank you. Erica Morency, please.
I have volunteered for my kids' theater. All summer long, I volunteer at Crapo. I'm at Paul Warner Fields. I'm working on becoming a Towns member. I just started volunteering at the Council on Aging. I have volunteered doing people that have passed away for their funeral. I've done their hair because I used to be a hairdresser. I'm always looking and willing to help out when and where I can. And this has helped me respect and love being a part of this community, which is why I want to get on here and help out even more.
All right, let's move on now to our fourth question of the evening. It'll be asked by Kate Robinson of WBSM, and it'll be directed to candidate Lynn Turner.
How do you plan to get the new superintendent off to a good start, especially as most of the candidates, including you, would be new as well?
Well, first of all, I would be very welcoming. I think it's very important to be welcoming to anyone that you deal with in life. And I would also let the person know that they're very valuable to our school and that we would like to collaborate with this person to make Dartmouth schools the greatest in the area. And I would like to spend my time getting to know the new superintendent as well. And I would look forward to it. Thank you.
All right, Troy Tufano, please.
I would, at first, introduce myself to the superintendent, and I would ask the superintendent what their goals were to achieve in the district and what tools that they thought they needed to be able to achieve that, and then work towards helping the superintendent achieve those goals. Hopefully, the superintendent would have an open mind to creating new programs and stuff like that, and I would love to help with said programs or whatever the superintendent needs.
All right, Elizabeth Coughlin.
First, I think I would tell them all my favorite things about Dartmouth, where they should go for walks, where they should eat, maybe even have them over to dinner. I don't know. I will welcome them with open arms. And second, that I am available for questions, not that I would know a lot starting out, as we would both be starting out, but open to communication and working together on any issues that may be before us.
All right, Erica Morency, please.
Yeah, same. I would be very welcoming, be open, listen, offer my help if he needs any outreach to the community. He or she, if they need any help at all, I'd be willing to give them a hand, and also would just want to give some time in getting to know them and what their plans are for our future.
Kathleen Amaral?
I would say, so whoever's selected, I hate talking about myself. I love like helping out and being a bridge builder. I'm going to share a story because she shared it publicly, so I'm going to share it. So, any positions, the superintendent we're talking about, but recently, 9 years ago now, our special ed director came in during a tumultuous time, and our CPAC, really, we believe in like the partnership with schools is, as I call, although I stole this from somebody else, so it's not my quote, but it's like an undivorceable relationship unless you move out of town. So you kind of got to make it work. And so working and moving forward and being a conduit for relationship building and communication to others who might not get the message, right? Because it's really hard, we're busy families. But being that relationship builder and a conduit to bringing in a welcoming presence to our town.
Okay, our next question will be asked by Ann Eisenmenger of Dartmouth Weekly. This one is going to be directed to candidate Troy Tufano.
Okay, Troy. This is a question that people sent in various forms. What should the role of diversity, equity, and inclusion be in Dartmouth Public Schools?
I feel that the role of diversity, equity, I feel it's, this is not going to answer the question, but I feel like it's endless. I feel like there shouldn't be a limit, and there shouldn't be like a certain defined role as we become a more diverse community and a more diverse school system. We wouldn't want to limit it. It's going to continue to grow, and it's going to continue to expand. So I feel like equitable education is what we need to have. I'm actually going to quote my wife here, who's a school psychologist, and she says fair isn't fair. Fair isn't equal. Fair is fair. Fair is equitable. So an education needs to be given at all levels to whomever needs whatever service is provided, and that comes with a more diverse system. So we need to continually improve, and there really is, I don't think there is like a parameter. I feel like whatever needs to be done should be done, and equity should be improved upon.
All right, Ms. Coughlin.
I embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion. I know that our school body is diverse, and they need to see the curricula and texts, sources for education reflecting that. Equity, everyone needs to be treated equally, and inclusion, everyone needs a seat at the table in the classroom. If we don't support diversity, we are supporting only one type of person. And if we don't support equity, then we are not doing our job as a public school. Our job as a public school is to teach everyone as equally as we can.
Thank you. Ms. Morency?
I believe the diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think everybody should celebrate the individuality. We should celebrate our diversity. I think everybody should get equal opportunity for an education, an equal opportunity in the classroom. And I do believe that inclusion should be for all. When we talk about the school, we're talking about all students, so all teachers. So inclusion should be for all.
Ms. Amaral?
Yeah, thank you for the question. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is public education. We are here to educate all students. And we have a responsibility, and sitting at this table, if we were to say that we were opposed to that, I think we should be not volunteering for this position. And as a mom to a student who, thanks to Massachusetts, just 50 years ago, within my lifetime, in October, I'll be 50, that students with disabilities are educated in school. And so that's not that long. And so we've come so far, we've got so much farther to go. But in terms of allowing students to see themselves represented, not only in their classrooms, but with their staff and what they're reading, I think that's beautiful, and it's important because, again, we are here as a public education system for all students.
Ms. Turner.
Hello. So yes, I come from a diverse population. I was born and raised in New Mexico, and I was teaching in New Mexico before I moved here to Massachusetts 24 years ago. It is a culturally rich environment, and we celebrated diversity in New Mexico. I agree with Erica in that, we want to celebrate diversity instead of looking at how people are depressed. I think we need to make sure we're lifting them up and celebrating them. They have very unique qualities that need to be celebrated. I think we do need equal opportunity for all and fairness, and that all are included and have a seat at the table. So I agree with all of that. I will add that the Indian was attacked by the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee last year instead of looking at the needs of our students. And I think they should be ashamed of themselves. It seems that they are the least tolerant of diverse opinions.
Thank you. Let's go on to our next question. This is going to be asked by Kate Robinson of WBSM, and the first person to answer this question will be candidate Elizabeth Coughlin. Kate?
All but 2 Dartmouth schools have improving MCAS test results since the pandemic, but they're still not quite at pre-pandemic levels. How would you help the schools get back to where they should be, or should the focus shift from test scores altogether?
So no, I'll start at the back of the question. MCAS is important. It's not the only metric, but ever since MCAS has been instituted, it has helped us improve our classes, particularly in reading and math. It is a metric that allows us to see progress, maybe not measuring individual students, but in the whole class and the school. So I am not a teacher. I do not develop curriculum, and I would look to the teachers to figure out how we need to improve in those schools. That is their job, and I respect them for their professionalism and expertise. But I will say MCAS is not everything. Our students' success should be judged by their engagement in community, their social emotional well-being, their fulfillment in their daily life. So MCAS is not it, but it is important for moving certain needles forward.
Ms. Morency, please.
I believe that we could help the children or the teachers. One, my thought is just retaining good teachers. If these good teachers are leaving, we need to retain them so we're not throwing new teachers in every other year. Could there be tutoring? Could there be tutoring during school? Could there be tutoring after school? I know some of the teachers do stay. I feel like there should be some kind of extra help for students that need it. My son has an IEP, so that's helped him achieve better stuff. I do believe same thing. It's not the MCAS helps, but it's not the whole. It's not the whole person. The person has to be emotionally well. The child has to be overall well-rounded child to be successful, not just academically.
Ms. Amaral?
I do not like the MCAS. I do believe that we need benchmarking, to set sort of like where our students are. But if you or to ask any teacher. They know exactly where their students are and where their students need to go. I've been personally advocating on a statewide level against MCAS. I did the same when it was Park, and I just feel one little detail. Of course, this is in my wheelhouse, but you not only have to graduate with all the competencies of high school to get a diploma. In Massachusetts, you have to pass the MCAS, and not all kids can take tests and do well on tests. So it is not an adequate indicator, and it takes a lot of time out of what these educators should and could be doing in their classroom. So I don't like MCAS.
Ms. Turner.
Yes, I actually agree with Kathleen on this one. I am not a big fan of MCAS. When I was a teacher, I wasn't either. I don't like teaching to the test. And, we don't. But sometimes you do have to teach them how to take the test, and it takes quite a bit of time. But I agree also that we do need to have benchmarks. One thing that we need to be careful of is that kids aren't falling through the cracks. And one thing I think we can do to help that happen is to have some of our honor students do peer tutoring for volunteer hours. And I wanted to make sure we're building strong fundamentals of education. That's one of my platform pieces. Children have multiple intelligences. They're not all intelligent in the same way, and MCAS is asking for everyone to be so similar. So I think we should celebrate diversity with intelligence as well.
Okay, Mr. Trufano.
I also do not support the MCAS. I feel like the best people to know and set the benchmarks are the teachers themselves. They know where their students are, and they know what needs to be achieved in order to teach the MCAS. As Lynn said, they do have to basically teach to the test, which means they stop their basic curriculum and change during MCAS time, and then they have to go back. That can throw teachers off, that throws students off, and it doesn't really help where we are now with students needing to improve coming off of pandemic time. It really does set that off. I say that let the teachers show the improvement and let the teachers focus on the students and refer the students that need help to the appropriate help they need.
All right, let's go to our next question now. This is going to be asked by Ann from Dartmouth Weekly, and the first person to answer this question will be Erica Morenzi.
Erica and everyone. Currently, librarians determine which books are in school libraries. Mm-hmm. Is there a reason to change that policy?
I mean, if that's the policy that's in place right now, I think as long as the librarians have the children's, best interests, depending on the grade, or, do I fully trust the library? I don't know the librarians like I know the teachers. I've never met our school librarian. She's actually new. So I can't say I trust whatever she's going to pick. I don't know her to trust her. I would assume that if she has grade 3, she's going to suggest books that are appropriate for grade 3 and not, a sexually explicit novel that, I wouldn't think it would be in the library anyway. So that's the policy that's been in place, and as long as they use their discretion with the grade level and the appropriate language and subjects, I don't see that as a problem.
All right, Ms. Amaral.
I believe in having a mindset of trust and of embracing, those that you put in place. I do trust our librarians. Our district does have policies they adopted from the American Library Association. And so the district as a whole has policies in place to select there's criteria around what materials are utilized. And they come from a place that is to support and enrich the curriculum, that provides materials of opposing sides, of controversial issues, to allow for critical reading and thinking, varying perspectives, and there's placed principle above personal opinion and reason above prejudice in the selection of materials of the highest quality. And so I think that kind of nails it, and I do support the people that we put in place to make the best decisions for students. Absolutely.
All right, Ms. Turner.
So I will be contrasting. I am a lover of books. I've used them in my classrooms and in my home. But there are books that are concerning to people, mostly of a sexual nature, that are in a lot of our school libraries these days. When I was in school, the best we had was looking up words in the dictionary about different topics. But now it seems like there is a lot more books available. We do have a sex education policy, and parents should be able to opt in for those types of books to be presented to their children. So I think we need to look hard at that situation. As far as librarians picking the books, I think it's fine, but it should be transparent what books are being picked so that we can weigh in on them as taxpayers and parents of our children. Thank you.
Mr. Stefano.
To answer the direct question, yes, I support the librarian. I support the librarian like I would support a teacher to develop their curriculum. To answer the indirect question, I am completely defiant ever banning a book. Books should never be banned. Books should never be taken off of shelves, and books should never be discontinued. I'd even put books that have been banned back on shelves, because it's up to those of us to make sure that our children know what is appropriate and what's provided for them is appropriate. When we go to the library, my kids come up to me, they ask, "Can I take this book out?" I say yes or no. It's really that simple. We are never to ban books, in my opinion. Thank you.
Coughlin.
So I absolutely trust the librarians. They do have a checklist of things that the books need to not include, like discriminatory or overly biased, demeaning generalizations, stereotyping based on race, sex, identity, ethnicity. If any of those things are in the books, they are not supposed to get into the school libraries or school classrooms. I trust the librarians to choose. I think it's so nice that we have books that we can find to answer our questions rather than just the dictionary. If a parent has a problem with a book, there is a system. You can say your child cannot take it out, and then your child will not be able to take it out.
Time, please. All right, next question will be asked by Kate Robinson of WBSM. First to answer will be Kathleen Amaral.
Hi, Kathleen. There are 2 open seats on the school committee. Assuming you vote for yourself, which other candidate has your support?
Oh, come on. Jesus. Oh, come on.
All right.
Well, putting people on the spot.
All right. So has my support?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to say 2 things. I'm going to say I give everyone credit for running. My husband's like, don't say that. I do. I mean, how can I sit on tables where I say parent engagement is important and not say, wow, it's exciting to have 5 people running for 2 spots? So I give you all credit. But anyone that does not believe in quality education for all, in diversity, equity, inclusion, is personal to me on multitude of levels, who comes at this in a negative way, trying to divide. I wouldn't support them if that is, I mean, let's just let everything fall. And but I am glad that we have 5 people to choose from. I'm not really gonna I love Bess. I think Bess is wonderful. Troy's a good guy. I just met Erica tonight. I don't know Erica. I've had some difficulty with Ms. Turner, but just because of her views, not because of her as a person. Sitting school committee member and receiving some emails from her in the past. They're just concerning, but I'm just glad that we're in a place where we can have 5 people volunteer their time to service as part of the school committee.
All right, thank you. Lynn Turner, please.
Question.
Okay, well, I will return the favor that I am concerned about Kathleen Amaral. The school committee kept our kids in masks for a year after Governor Baker lifted the mask mandate. And I was one of those parents writing letters, and those are the red letters that she is referring to. I feel that diversity, equity, inclusion was off base with how they approached the attack on the Dartmouth Indian. And they didn't even invite the Indians into, or the Wampanoags to come, our local tribe, to come in and present their desire to keep the Dartmouth Indian symbol. And it was designed by them, and I was very critical of that diversity, equity, and inclusion committee that wasn't called diversity, equity, and inclusion because it was under a guise of, I think it was equality and diversity.
Time, please. All right, Troy Tufano.
To answer the question, yes, I plan on voting for myself. Just to make that clear to everybody, I plan on voting for myself. As far as beyond that, I agree with Kathleen and what she said about being so glad that there's 5 people interested in this community that are willing to invest their time and energy into making our schools a better place.
All right, Elizabeth Coughlin.
Yes, I applaud everyone for running. No easy thing, and I'm glad that so many people support our children. I would support Kathleen Amaral.
Erica Morenzi.
Yeah, I think I agree with something that each person has said. I mean, I don't disagree with things that anybody has said so far. I just met Lynn not long ago. I just met Kathleen today. I don't know Beth. I just met her. I know Troy. Our kids go to school together. He's a nice man, great dad. I don't know. I think our town is very lucky to have us running. I think we're all really great candidates and really great people, and we all have something to add to the table. So if you asked me today to pick besides myself, I really couldn't.
Okay, thank you. Let's see what the next question will bring us. Ann Eisenmenger from Dartmouth Weekly, and this question is going to be asked to Lynn Turner.
Lynn, what role should parents play in determining the content of their children's education?
This is going to be Lynn Turner, yes.
Okay, thank you. So I would say that parents should be able to opt in if content is, or opt out if content is when you go to movies, there's PGs and there's rated Rs. And so I think that at least if there's hard content, parents need to be informed, and they need to decide if they're opting in or out with their child as far as if their child is ready to take in certain information. They are the experts on their children, and they should be able to give input to what their child is exposed to at school. School should be focused on the highest level of education their child can receive, and I think they should also be given an opportunity to support their child in celebrating their accomplishments and their projects and their presentations that they can do on different topics that they learn in school.
Troy Tufano.
Just to be clear on the question, was that's in regards to public school?
Yes.
So in regards to public school, I believe that's a clear answer. I don't think parents should have any say. I think the teachers do a fantastic job creating the curriculum. It's approved by DESE. It's gone through the rigors of being reviewed over and over again. And if a parent wants to oversee their child's education, there's something called homeschooling. They can teach their kids at home.
All right, Elizabeth Coughlin.
So I agree with Troy to some extent that DESE has gone to a lot of work to create frameworks for curriculum. But I would also say that parents certainly should speak up if they see a problem because teachers could go awry. But if they're following the frameworks, I think that they should stick to the frameworks. And parents always have the right to opt out, particularly for sex ed. And then, as Troy said, there is homeschooling. But of course, the school committee and the school will listen to the concerns of the parents, and they might have something.
All right, Erica Morency, please.
Yeah, as a parent, I think that we should not, I don't necessarily even have a say in what the teacher's teaching. Obviously, they're educated in that. When we have parent-teacher conferences, I can, have a say in maybe this could help my son better, or this could help my daughter better, or I can ask questions. I mean, I like to ask questions to the teachers about what they're teaching and why. Same thing, if they teach, sex ed in 5th grade now, if I think parents should be able to opt out of that day if they think that's too young or their child's too immature, or they don't like the health teacher, I don't know. I feel like maybe those kind of things, I think you should be given the opportunity to opt in or out as a parent. I do believe we know what's, best for our children, not so much as English, math, but their surroundings maybe.
Kathleen Damerall.
Yeah, so parent engagement is great. We do follow Massachusetts curriculum frameworks in terms of the education. I have been known to help families advocate on a statewide level. Meet with your legislator if you think something's not right. But it's about building the relationship and building the trust and being in communication. Mostly for my most vulnerable child, I typically send a litany of this is what he likes, this is what he doesn't like, this is what makes his day a better day, and all of these things. Here's his IEP, just in case you don't see it in the system. And so doing those things are great, but at the end of the day, we've got policies and we've got good things going on in our schools. And I'll leave with the joke. I mean, my kids couldn't even get a stick of deodorant from their little, their phys ed, sex ed talk unless I signed a form. So, I mean, if you're not getting deodorant, you're not getting inappropriate information.
That's pretty funny. I didn't realize that.
All right, our next question will be asked by Kate Robinson of WBSM. Answering first this time will be Troy Tufano.
Hi, Troy. With an increasing need for mental health support for kids and teens, how would you help make counseling and other mental health programs available for students?
That's a great question. Okay, so a little background. My wife is actually a school psychologist for Bridgewater Raynham Regional School District. So this is something that I do understand, and it is extremely important. I believe that counseling services should be offered to anybody that needs it in any capacity. It's not, I don't think that there's a metric we need to have a metric saying like, oh, unless you hit this level, you don't need counseling. Anybody who needs counseling should be able to go for counseling. There is no limitation to that. And I believe that with that, if we're going to go that way, we need to focus and make sure that we have adequate staffing to be prepared for that as well.
All right, Ms. Coughlin.
So I think I said earlier that the high school already does have mental health professionals available. Our elementary schools don't. I don't know how, but I would like to find the funding for mental health professionals in our lower grades. If you're not set up going into high school, it's going to be worse. So let's catch them when they're young. If there's problems at home, if there's just problems endemic to the child, we need to get right on top of them so that the child can thrive. So unfortunately, it means more money. If we don't have more money, we need to have referral services to outside help. We have a need to have those referrals readily available, and if funding is needed for it, we need to figure out that for the parents, how they apply for it.
Ms. Morency.
I would like to help students by, again, maximizing like their guidance counselors. Hopefully we can get, if there isn't already in place, some peer support groups for middle school and high school students. And for the elementary students, some kind of, if there can't be counselors, we all know that, especially some of the teachers, some of these kids do not get what they need at home. And if they're looking for in other ways at school, then we need to help those children, again, get services, whether they can talk to someone, ask for help, have, again, peer groups so friends can maybe, tell a teacher if, I talked to so-and-so and he's not doing really good today, he said this. So if we can set up some kind of peer support groups so these kids sometimes feel safer talking to their friends than an adult.
Ms. Amaral.
Yeah, connecting to good resources and helping students with their mental health and developmental needs is really close to home for me. And, it's really important that we keep a laser focus on improvements. We've made great improvements. I've been on the committee 2 terms, so in 6 years we've built upon, some good supports in the high school. My daughter was a senior in 2020, and I was able to the staff at the high school really helped her get out of bed. And so they're doing some good work, but they can't do it alone, and we can always use more. I advocate for that strongly because essentially when you have a student who is just dysregulated or undiagnosed, underserved, that really impacts the classroom. It impacts the teacher's ability to, to teach, and
Time, please.
It's a lot.
Thank you. Ms. Turner.
Okay, so for mental health and the availability to the students, I do believe we have some availability in elementary level. At Quinn Elementary, we have Kelly Bloom, who ran support groups for students that were needing extra support. She also ran a Kindness Counts campaign, and I believe other schools have that kind of support as well. At the middle school, we also have wonderful guidance counselors, and at the high school, we have guidance counselors as well. I think that we do need to utilize them for our students that are not, or that are depressed from pandemic trauma and other traumas in their lives. It's a real thing, and students are struggling in a lot of areas, and we do need to pay attention to them. They need to feel welcomed, and they need to feel valued, and we also need to work with our peer groups to make sure that they are welcoming their peers and valuing their peers.
Time, please. Thank you. Okay, let's go to our next question now. This one will be asked by Ann Eisenmenger of Dartmouth Weekly. First to answer this time is going to be Elizabeth Coughlin.
Okay, bit of a long question. I'm old enough to remember when every boy in Massachusetts public schools, I think it was in the 8th grade, had to take a semester of electrical shop and a semester of woodworking, and girls had to take a semester of cooking and a semester of sewing. In 2023, what non-academic life skills should schools be teaching to prepare students for the world of 2023 and way beyond?
Well, in some ways it hasn't changed. I think all our students should know how to cook. Maybe not sew, but a button would be a good idea. And shop is still not a bad idea. Non-academic skills, I would say gardening would be a non-academic skill. These are things that you need in life to enjoy life and also to make home life better. Cooking actually is important. Otherwise, you're spending all your money at restaurants. I think all the sports that we do are also essential in teaching motor coordination and building relationships with our fellow students. So all of those.
Erica Morency.
I think cooking is essential. I grew up in New Bedford. I went to New Bedford schools, and we had cooking and electrical and woodworking and sewing. So all of those are essential to life. I think some kind of finance class about budgeting, investing, something like that. My kids are very big into sports. I think sports teaches a lot of good life lessons. My daughter's also in theater. I think that anything that can be a group, whether it's like robotics or tech is like a big opportunity to get into. Any of that stuff that's non-academic, I mean, some of it should be offered rather than just academics for life skills.
All right, Kathleen Emerald.
I think that the district has this. They're building this sense of belonging, right? I think that's very important. I just jotted down a few words that come to mind that I think are critical, that I do believe we're working on and we can continue to build upon in our project-based learning and allowing students to really rise to the occasion with their own individual interests and skill set. Communication, I think it's important, building that teamwork, critical thinking, and just building those soft skills so that they have the capacity, because we're raising the future leaders of our community, and we want them to be good humans. So I think those soft, important skills around interpersonal relationship building, communication, teamwork, critical thinking are all critical to that.
All right, Lynn Turner.
Hi, so I'm running as a practical common sense candidate. I do appreciate the hands-on activities that you were afforded when you were in school of shop, woodworking, cooking, and sewing. They're all still valuable skills. If we could offer those, that would be nice. I wouldn't delineate between boys and girls. I would let boys and girls take any of those activities that they so choose. I would also like to expound upon the personal finance course that I am promoting. I would like to have that available to all students. We do have a personal finance as an elective for half a credit, but what I'm proposing is a full year of practical math, including personal finance skills. I also think that we might include STEM into that, so which includes a lot of critical thinking, and it would give them a lot of skills to face life after high school.
Okay, Troy Tufano.
I actually agree with what Lynn just said about offering those classes, but to anybody that wants to take them, not have it limited to boys or girls in this section or whatever else, but anybody that wants to take them. I do agree with the financing too, balancing, not that we really balance checkbooks, but making sure that we can actually track and follow accounts. When I was looking to buy my first house here in Massachusetts, I took the real estate course. Not to get a license in real estate, but just to learn the ins and outs and what's actually happening. And so when things are being explained to me and I'm sitting at a table in front of lawyers and they start throwing papers at me, I actually kind of get a gist of what's happening. So something like that would be beneficial too. Anything practical like that.
All right, for the next question, let's go back to WBSM's Kate Robinson. Answering first this time, Kate, is going to be Erica Morency.
Hi. The district's unionized staffers are working without a contract. How would you help attract and keep talented employees in Dartmouth schools?
We're talking about the teachers, correct? All the employees, basically, yep. So then, I would try to want to alleviate. If we can't give everybody a pay increase, then we need to alleviate the insurance, like the burden of the insurance. Some of these people are getting out of school, still paying off school loans, as well as teachers' union dues, and the inflation has not helped. People that used to spend $100 on groceries a week are now spending $2. So I think trying to alleviate some kind of burden for them, whether it's a raise or helping with the insurance, I think that would be like a huge help.
Zamaral.
I would do.
Yeah, the insurance is a big issue. I think in terms of what, could you repeat the question quickly? Just the
how would you help attract and keep talented employees?
Dartmouth is awesome. I think it's just let's put it out there. I can't talk negotiations. I'm currently on the school committee, but as a town that is so proud and has such pride, when you look at the numbers and you say we value our high property, I can't buy a house here, it's too expensive. I've got a little postage stamp house in Bliss Corner, but I love my postage stamp house. But I couldn't move because the properties are so high, but yet we pay per pupil 90% less than other districts in the Commonwealth. I mean, we don't value our education, really, it's embarrassing.
Time, please. Okay, Ms. Turner.
Okay, so for attracting employees and keeping them, I have a couple ideas. One, to attract employees, Dartmouth pride is real. There's a lot of people that want to work in Dartmouth because it's fabulous here. It's beautiful, and the people have such heart and spirit that they want to be a part of it. As far as keeping our employees, we do need to look at the benefits package that they are awarded, and I think that would alleviate some of the financial stress. So for the healthcare issue, I do have a proposal, and it is to create a consortium with other towns so that our healthcare is combined with maybe Westport and Acushnet or something like that for our employees, so that it's a bigger pool that is getting their healthcare, and the prices would go down for their premiums. And if the town could keep the same level of pay for their healthcare, it would take a bigger percentage of the healthcare cost, and it would leave a very little amount for the employee
Time, please.
to pay.
Mr. Tufano.
Well, I think as a town we are very attractive on its own for bringing in staff. The keeping them is a different issue. Staff are in different places, but especially I see on a daily basis with our teaching assistants, they can't afford to stay in Dartmouth, especially if they end up being the breadwinner of the household. They just can't possibly make enough. Our town system is a little bit antiquated in the sense that it's all kind of lumped together. So it's not just the schools that are in negotiations. There's other departments that are in negotiations right now too and not working with contracts. Because, as I said before, with the Proposition 2.5, that really limits us and it limits the schools. Something needs to be done about the bigger picture to fix the school itself.
All right, Ms. Coughlin.
So yeah, of course, Dartmouth is a nice place to live, but that is not enough. Our teachers do need more money, if not a better deal on their health insurance. I don't know if the consortium of health insurance would work with other towns. I have not looked into that. It has been suggested that maybe we could tap into, at least for a short while, the free cash and stabilization money in our town to pay our teachers more as we figure out a more long-term way to do that. And that might be looking at the 2.5, figuring out if the town has the will to exceed that. But in the short term, we need to give them something. And I would suggest free cash or stabilization money.
All right, for our next question, back to Ann from Dartmouth Weekly. Answering first this time will be Kathleen Amaral.
Okay, I'm going to phrase this question a couple of different ways because it's a variation on my earlier question. What role should the school committee have in determining the content of curriculum? But since you're sitting in different places here, I'm going to say, what role have you played in determining of curriculum as the incumbent, and those who are running for a seat on the school committee, what role would you expect to play as a school committee member in determining curriculum?
As a school committee member, the number one responsibility is hiring and possibly firing the superintendent. And in that is a process, which we're going through right now, in which you really are delving into candidates and selecting based on what's important to you. So you want someone who's going to have students front and center. I want somebody that's a relationship builder, that's in the buildings, that puts their, walks in the shoes of our educators and our children, and can wear the many hats. And so the role in terms of curriculum is not something the school committee dictates. Massachusetts, we abide by the curriculum frameworks, and the school committee, as fun and exciting it is to volunteer on this board, we have a very limited scope in law, which is the superintendent and policies. So that's above my certain pay grade for sure. All things front and center that focus on the well-being of students, all students of all different levels of accomplishment and ability, is what's most important, and we want to put a leader in who will then implement things with
Time, please.
their staff.
Okay.
Lynn Turner.
Thank you. So, with a background in teaching, I'm very familiar with curriculum, and I love curriculum. I'm drawn to curriculum. I am interested in the curriculum. I will be looking at it. I think that it's a very important piece of our schools, and I understand it. I would like to work collaboratively with our staff and our superintendent to make Dartmouth the best school for our children that we can. Thank you.
All right, Troy Trevano.
I think that Kathleen being on the board already kind of summed it up. There's not really a direct impact that the board can have on curriculum. So the most important component for the school committee is to make sure that a good supporting superintendent is there to get the rest of the staff in place to be able to implement the curriculum as designated by the state.
All right, Elizabeth Coughlin, please.
Yes, I agree. The school committee, they hire the superintendent, they create policy, they do not create curriculum. So we support our teachers in how they implement the curriculum. And yes, we want a superintendent who is capable of carrying that out with them.
Erica Morency.
Yes, I mean, I basically agree with everyone. I think the superintendent is in charge of that. I think the school committee, as long as, it's anything that's going to benefit the children's, like, mentally, physically, academically, something that's going to benefit them, which most of it probably is, then I think that we should, just let the superintendent. Obviously, if it's something that's a lot of people, something that people rally, then the superintendent, I would think, would take care of it.
All right, thank you. Let's go to our next question now. WBSM's Kate Robinson has this one. First to answer will be Lynn Turner.
Hi, Lynn. How would you balance your political views with working with fellow committee members, staff, or parents who differ?
Well, we have to have respect for each other and have robust debates. It's important to have diverse views on a school committee because we have diverse thoughts in our community. So it is something that will be at times contentious, I'm sure, but at the same time it's a necessary thing to face because diversity of thought is a very important thing to have.
Mr. Tufano.
Well, I don't feel like I could actually say that I would do that I would not let my political bias or my political affiliation or whatever be of impact, but I would do everything in my power to approach situations and circumstances with an as unbiased approach as I possibly could, looking at all the facts, all the parameters, and all the details that are in front of us to give not just a detailed response, but an informed response in all capacity. I think that's really important. And having a diverse committee is good because we can look at all perspectives, as Lynn said. We can look at it from all different angles rather than, just a one-sided.
All right, Elizabeth Coughlin?
Yeah, I also agree. It would be great to have diverse views on the school committee. We are all unified, or we will be all unified in a quality education for every child. So if there's different views on how to get there, let's listen to them. Let's talk about it. Let's debate about it. We want the best thing for the children. Maybe my idea isn't the best. I will listen, and if your idea is better, let's go with it.
Erica Morenzi?
Yeah, I mean, my political views, I feel, shouldn't have anything to do with my personal views. It shouldn't have anything to do with students and the people that work for the school. This is about people and education, and I feel like I would keep that out of it. I agree with everyone. You have to have diverse people on a board, because if everybody is content and just everyone's the same and comfortable, then no one's ever going to grow. And you cannot grow without difficult conversations. I'm not talking about changing each other's mind. I mean, just listening and hearing other people's views. Again, if everybody is the same, you can't grow, and we need this community to keep growing. So I'm all for everybody being different.
Kathleen Amaral?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think folks bring a certain perspective to the committee. The two terms that I've served, we've been made up of mainly the same, but one change. And we all have different. We all bring our lived experience to the table, and we all serve because we're compelled for some reason. And usually that our purpose is what kind of fuels our passion for the work that we're doing. And so those conversations over the last 6 years have been difficult. You talk about the contentious one. It's myself. I ultimately, no matter, you vote based on thinking about what everyone is saying. Oftentimes my husband will say, how do you feel about a certain, I'm not saying, I'm still thinking it through. And so sometimes you don't know until I get in front of the microphone how I'm going to respond. But diverse views are how we get to the best answers.
All right, let's go to the final question of the night, and I'm going to be delivering this one. And answering first will be Troy Tofano. The Dartmouth High School principal, Mr. Ryan Shea, created a new motto at the high school this year, which says, One Dartmouth. What does this motto mean to you? And do you feel this motto should be expanded to the entire Dartmouth school system?
One Dartmouth. It means a united community, a united front in educating our students, giving the staff what they need to succeed, and preparing for the future in the best way possible, but all working together for that goal and the same goal. And I would agree with it. I mean, there are other really great sayings and slogans in the other schools as well that I don't think should go, but yeah, that could definitely and would definitely be a great message to send out to everybody as one big united community.
All right, Ms. Coughlin.
Yeah, I think it's a great motto, somewhat like E pluribus unum, out of many, one, from a diverse our diverse student body. We are all focused on one thing, and that is education and making every student be the best person they can to be able to be a productive citizen and fulfilled in their life. So I would be happy to have it for all of the schools. I think it's a great ideal. It's the ideal we have for our country.
All right, Ms. Morenzi.
I agree as well. I think it is one. As a community, we all know when, unfortunately, catastrophes happen and people come together and you work together, then you can really accomplish some great things. And I mean, in sports, there's no I in team. A lot of sports, you can't win by yourself. You need to do it together. And I think that that's a sense of community And we should, if we can all work together, all be kind to each other, all love one another and respect each other's differences, and we can all, keep this community great and moving forward.
Ms. Amaro.
Yeah, I do enjoy, and I enjoy Mr. Say's passion at promoting this concept. I do think we have a ways to go, and but we've put some critical positions in place that I think will add to us getting there in terms of an elementary and then a secondary curriculum director. I think that will help. I would love to see for the continuum of services. You don't want a child to get supports and services in elementary and then come to the middle school and they say, oh, we only do B grid, we don't do C. That those types of things can't happen. And so moving towards that as a goalpost, as a vision for this community and for our district, I think is going to be beautiful for the professional development and the relationship building among staff, students in the continuum of their supports and service, their trajectory of their education. I think that it's a beautiful concept and one that will serve us well, something to aim for.
All right, Ms. Turner, please.
Okay, so One Dartmouth is a wonderful vision, and I think it is a good idea to extend it to all of our schools in Dartmouth. We have a divided country right now. We have a divided, we have to work against that all the time to try to unite, and I think One Dartmouth speaks to that. And I think that if we present the facts to the students in an unbiased fashion, which is part of my platform, we would get a lot of debate and embracing of diverse views, and we could just be welcoming to everyone, and everyone's valued in One Dartmouth.
All right, thank you very much. Let's now proceed to the closing statements. They will be 2 minutes, and we are going to go in reverse order the way we did the opening statement. So we're going to start at the other end of the dais and work our way this way. First, we go to Mr. Troy Tavano. You got 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate that. The first thing I'd like to say in my closing statement is I'd like to thank all the other candidates on this stage right now for a fantastic candidates night. I feel like it went really well, and I feel like we were able to put forth a great message to the community that regardless of who you pick, we're working to better education in our town. We do have differences, but a great candidates night. I thank all of you for watching. I thank those who are here tonight in the room. Thank you for showing up and taking the time out of your day to be here. And I look forward to seeing everybody at the polls on April 4th.
All right, thank you very much. Lynn Turner, please.
Okay, so thank you everyone for being here and hearing our debate. I would like to ask for your vote at votelynturner.org for my website. I'm running for the school committee election on April 4th, and my platform is planning for bright futures. I would like us to consider having alumni come in and share how they have made their future bright with our students so that they can have a vision for their futures as well. I would like for our curriculum to educate and be unbiased so that students can learn to critical think for themselves and use their own thoughts in the way that they position themselves. I do promote a website called allsides.com, and it looks at a left-leaning viewpoint, a right-leaning viewpoint, and a central viewpoint. And that is an excellent springboard for upper-level students to debate and come think about how they feel about different topics. I promote transparency for parents and taxpayers so that they can see what their children are doing when they are at school and what our finances are funding in our town. And I would like to also state that I am for, if we were going to be able to increase funds for our staff, I would like us to look first at the TAs and the secretaries. And as far as curriculum, I am a creative thinker and a practical thinker and a common sense thinker. And I am willing to look at anything to make our schools great. I am not trying to dictate our curriculum, but I would like to see what we are doing in our schools, and I would support our superintendent leading that charge. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Kathleen Amaral, please.
I don't have a platform. Sorry. I enjoy being part of the solution. I love our school department. Not going to cry. I believe that over the last 6 years, more than 6 years, that I have proven myself to be open-minded, to be thoughtful in my decision-making, to be an advocate for our families and our educators. And I believe that I've proven that in the work that I have done thus far. I ask for your vote on April 4th. I ask you to vote for Kathleen Amaral. But if you don't, I'm not going anywhere because I am deeply committed to the well-being of the students, all students in this town. But I do ask for your vote on April 4th.
Thank you. Erica Morency, please.
I love living in Dartmouth. I love raising my kids here. It's a safe place. And I just want it to continue to thrive and help everybody succeed here. I'm passionate and committed. I'm determined to help in Dartmouth schools to get to where they need to be. I support all teachers, assistants, paras, secretary, basically all who work with our children every day, most of the year. There's got to be a way. There has to be a way to help these teachers and TAs, because if we say students first, we are, but you also have to say we have to retain these teachers. We have wonderful teachers. We have to retain them if we're students first. Students first and teachers in the same sentence. So there's got to be a way we can do it without raising taxpayers' money. We owe it to them, we owe it to our community, and we owe it to the children. So again, I also support the Indian logo and the collaborations. Today is actually the 50th anniversary of Clyde doing his revision that he did in 1973. I don't know. I feel like we need a fresh face and a fresh start. We need to, academically help these students achieve. I support our educators' budgeting priorities, equal treatment and opportunity for all. So I just ask for your vote on April 4th. Thank you.
And Elizabeth Coughlin.
Thank you all for listening tonight. I stand with the students. I also stand with the teachers, and I hope that we can figure out a way to make you happy. Our public schools are tasked with providing an education for all of our youth, and it is important that we acknowledge, support, and teach to the diversity of our student body. We are a great school department, and that's not to say that we should be complacent. We need to work harder. We need to do more for our students. We need to regain what we've lost through the pandemic. We need to support the students emotionally, socially. I will work for every student to make their education and experience better, and I will work collaboratively with the school committee. I will work alongside the superintendent. Our students are our future.
All right, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of our candidates for participating here tonight, and to you who came out, and to you watching at home. I would like to remind you that the election is Tuesday, April the 4th of 2023. The polls open from 9 a.m., close at 8 p.m. The final day to register to vote in the elections is this coming Saturday, which is March the 25th, and the town's clerk's office will be open on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Absentee voting is available if you cannot make it to the polls on Election Day. All requests for mail-out absentee ballots must be received at the town's clerk's office by Thursday, March 30th. And DCTV will have live election results show, hosted by yours truly, on April the 4th, starting at 8 p.m. right here from Town Hall. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank WBSM News Director Kate Robinson and Ann Eisenmenger, the publisher of Dartmouth Weekly, for participating. Thank you all for coming. Have a safe ride home, and have a great night.